So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to put this on like 1.5 and let it play, and then I'll talk whenever I want to, whenever I need to interject.
That logic. And then immoral, I do not see any moral justification for an eternity of torture.
Side note, she is absolutely beautiful.
Again, this is the widest understanding of the Christian hell. We're totally open to talk about different iterations or other kinds of hell, but from the majority of the understanding of Christian hell, illogical and immoral.
A part of your argument speaks to the proportionality of punishment, and I wanted to bring you back to some real life.
Why does she have the proportionality of punishment? Just say how fair it is.
Examples of punishment that are not exactly commensurate to the proportionality of the time that it took to.
She's trying her damnedest to sound like she knows what the hell she's talking about, bro. Just speak English. Jesus Christ.
Commit the crime. I like to say that I have a prosecutorial background. I was a prosecutor for a few years.
I can't stand that. It gives such flat earther energy. You know, I'll scroll these like children, and they're always young people on TikTok. That they just spew out the last like word that they think is a big word, like proportionality. Oh my God, these are words we said in like 6th grade math class, motherfucker. Just say what you're trying to say. Stop trying to be like, oh, let me give the most complicated version of my fucking sentence I can possibly conjure up.
So I understand how crimes are done, and a lot of things are taken into consideration when determining that proportionality. For example, if a criminal walks into the court and they have a history of doing that same crime, we do what's called enhancing their punishment. Because they have a history of doing the same thing, we get to take that into context. And I think what happens is...
And let me explain the reason behind that right quick before we move further. Is because when we do that, we're trying to limit the effect that they can have on the public without like literally killing them or being unfair to them. And so if we catch them, release them, and that's an ongoing pattern, then it's more likely every single time they do that, more and more likely that they're going to do it when we release them again. So we give them a stricter and a harsher sentence to therefore protect the public in a more efficient way. That's why she's going to skip over all that bullshit probably and say, and I swear to God, I don't know what she says after this. And I watched this yesterday, but I didn't watch all of it, and I've forgotten everything. But I'm almost guaranteed she's gonna like take that and misconstrue it and do some shitty conclusion that actually we can't even pull from the actual reason behind why we give people a longer sentence when they are reoffending people, when they reoffend over and over again.
When this conversation comes up as it relates to the proportionality specifically, I cannot say that word today, we like to reduce crimes against God, which is what the Christian understands as sin, to these instances and these moments and these minor things. But in reality, all sin and all wrongdoing is sin against an eternal God. So if you sin against an eternal God, I do think it naturally follows.
Hey, dumbass. What she's doing, so she's like, this God is eternal, and then before she was like reoffending. Before you started talking about God, you were talking about the person that is being judged, and now you are talking about the judge. So yes, past and like how your past history matters whenever a earthly court is judging you, is doing the judging to you, because we're trying to protect the public. We have more information that tells us that you are probably more likely to go out and cause further harm instead of having the intended effect, which is hopefully rehabilitation, even though we're not the greatest at that. And then now you're talking about the judge, like the judge himself, which would be God. No, those are two fucking separate sides.
There are eternal consequences associated with that. Even when you look at the crimes that are done against certain public figures, like as a previous prosecutor, there's a different sentencing range for harm against a prosecutor or against a judge. And it's not because they're better than anyone, but it's because of what they represent. If a judge is representing the law and enacting the law, if a crime that is done against the judge is measured out, it is a
I've never heard this before. Hold on, let me slow this down. Is that a thing? I'm going to look this up just in case.
Or against a judge. And it's not because they're better than anyone for harm against as a previous prosecutor. There's a different sentencing range for harm against a prosecutor or against a judge. And it's not because they're better than anyone.
Oh, I see what she's saying. I thought she meant like certain judges can give you longer sentences because of who they are. But no, if you commit a crime against a judge, then it's longer. Okay.
But it's because of what they represent. If a judge is representing the law and enacting the law, if a crime that is done against the judge is measured out, it is a defiance against the law itself. So when you say that it is, I guess, illogical to have the punishment be...
Okay. So, okay. So, yeah, there's a greater, when like if you assault a police officer rather than a civilian, there's a great, like, that's a little crazier. That takes a person of a more unstable mindset, I guess, to do something like that. And it is a direct attack. Like, it's not like there was some, thing between me and some civilian or whatever. It's like I'm literally attacking a big figure. Like, it's a bigger crime. It takes more of a danger to society to do that sort of thing. So to protect society, again, like I said earlier, we give them a harsher sentence.
Eternal, when we are talking about an eternal God, I think...
And you need to do a little more explaining there of how these two things actually, how they tie in with one another. Because, yeah, because you have the set of facts. On one side, yes, if you commit a crime against a law enforcement person, somebody who represents the law, there's a stricter sentence. But that has nothing to do with, like, the lifespan of that person. And if they are, like, what the fuck are you talking about? God exists forever. So if you do anything that he disagrees with, if you lie once, well, because it has nothing to do with if you're eternal. It has nothing to do with if the lie that you did, if the action you committed was eternal or not, which was what really would fucking matter. Like, that would make sense. If you commit an action that has eternal consequences, then the punishment for that would also be you having eternal consequence. That might track a little bit there, because that you're getting what you gave. That's kind of like you're being punished. It's the same amount of harm. Like, you inflicted this amount of harm, you get that amount of harm back. If we're being just, if that's the whole point of, if you accept that that's the whole point of sentencing or whatever, then that would make sense. But to say, oh, well, the person judging you lasts forever, therefore if you do one thing that violates their law or whatever the fuck, then that means you should be tortured for forever. That doesn't fucking track. There's absolutely no way those two things, like, that's like, if you do think that, then you would say a judge who is younger, you do something, or like, how about this? Not even the judge, because the judge doesn't make the law. How about this? If you commit a crime in a country whose laws are newer, then you get a lesser sentence. And then the longer the country goes on, so if America somehow ends up being 1,000 years old in the future, then now we need to raise the amount of time that you get put in jail, because the fucking law has been here for that long. Like, oh, back then you were committing a crime against a law that has only been here for this long, but now it's getting closer and closer to a long time. So that means your sentence needs to go up too. That is literally taking your shitty ass logic to its logical conclusion. That is what I just fucking did, and that's preposterous. Hopefully you can see that.
Consider is the inertia of the soul. If, for example, someone hates God, who's to say they're going to stop hating God for eternity?
This is such stupid, idiotic. She is so she's actually pissing me off with how retarded she is. Like, who's to stop? What the hell are you talking about? People change their fucking opinions all the time. And so God is just going like, and guess what? God doesn't have to guess. God doesn't have to go, I wonder if this guy will ever stop hating me. No, he can just know. And if that person does, in their heart, as they're being tortured, they go, oh, okay, I do believe you're real now, and I see that you had all the glory or whatever the fuck. Please save me. I actually changed my heart. Oh, well, I made my mind up last week that who's to say that you were going to do that? Who's to even say you were going to change your mind? Oh, I have to torture you for... What the fuck are you talking about?
The idea is that my position here on earth is only a precursor of what my position and my perspective is going to be for an eternity. And if God is a God that is loving, I think the most loving thing that he could do is to respect a person's free will.
On earth, these guys, they say our opinions are so subject to change, but then as soon as we fucking die and actually see that there is a God or is not a God or whatever the fuck, after we die, then all of a sudden our beliefs wouldn't change at all. They're just locked in place after we actually get the fucking evidence. Okay.
So if you didn't want God in the past, why would it make sense for you to want God in the future?
What the hell are you talking about? What, like, literally, how do you even say these words and believe that? Look at her face, bro. Wait, hold on. Let me move my shit. Look at her face, bro. She's like, what the hell is this bitch saying? I hope that's what she's thinking, at least. What the hell are you saying?
Future.
You're not even saying. You're just guessing. This is all just like vague bullshit. Just who's to say this? Well, this would make sense of this. What the fuck? I don't even know how to address this shit.
We have to understand that naturally we are eternal. We have an eternal soul. And so we're gravitating towards eternity. It just depends on where we're going. And the things that I stated before are things that I think we have to take into consideration.
So I'm not sure that
Stupid bitch.
Again, this is kind of going into, because we have free will, therefore this scope and magnitude of suffering, in the case of hell, resonates. I'm not sure that tracks, because again, this goes back to another component of the concept of the Christian hell being immoral, is because I think it is immoral for a creator being to set up a system in which people would end up suffering forever after that.
She's kind of going on like the attack. She's not even addressing this bullshit that she just said.
Creator being created those people. Yes, free will exists. Free will was created by God according to Christian understanding. Everyone who was going to be on these paths of eternal torture were created with the knowledge and understanding by a supposedly perfectly moral creator.
Hold on. But just to recap, I want to go and play this what she said.
And we like to reduce.
Any of you retards got lost in the sauce, and now you're gonna go click away in the fucking comments.
This conversation comes up as
you back on track here.
It relates to the proportionality specifically. I cannot say that word today. We like to reduce crimes against God, which is what the Christian understands as sin, to these instances and these moments and these minor things. But in reality,
because they are, the actions are in the moment. Okay, they are.
All sin and all wrongdoing is sin against an eternal God.
Yeah, sin against an eternal God. The sin is still momentary. The action is still momentary, temporary.
God. So if you sin against eternal,
and so she's saying that since the judge is eternal, since you sinned against his eternal rule book, the punishment for that should be an eternal punishment. Okay, well then, therefore, it would track that however long the fucking judge has been living, if it was a short time, or I guess maybe not just the judge itself, but again, since God and his rules are one, that's why we're saying the judge, and it's kind of implied his rules. So all of his rules and whatever the fuck, as long as if they're like really, if they're old as shit, bigger sentence. If they're eternal sentence. If they're not that long, then if they're not that old, then you don't have that harsh of a sentence. That's not how it fucking works. We judge based off the crime. If you did a crime that has this amount of harm, well then you get that amount of sentence, which will do hopefully the same kind of around, according to how humans judge it, harm back to you. So a murder, you totally devastated somebody's life. Now the rest of your life, you go away. Drinking and driving, like just a DUI, there's a potential for you to ruin somebody's life, so you get a little bit of time. You steal something, you know what I'm saying? You steal something, just a few months. It's about the fucking crime. Since you're the one comparing our sins against God to court, since you're a prosecutor, I have a prosecutor background, fuck me. Alright, well then I'll do that for you. I'll explain how it actually is, and how that would actually be if they were 1-to-1. Dumb bitch. And no, I'm not sorry for being rude. Like, fuck these people, bro. Genuinely, fuck them. They think they're so fucking genius with the bullshit that they say. It's so fucking irritating. And they just, later on in this video, that was the one that I saw on TikTok, was somebody said, like, we need to rejoice in our suffering. I'm pretty sure that's what she said. That's the part that I saw. And I can't wait till we get to that part. Because you need to shut your fucking mouth, actually. Also, I was wrong earlier. The dumb bitch said free will. She was talking about free will. And then that's why she ended up talking about because she said, that's the reason it didn't resonate with me, because she said free will and then she started talking about something completely fucking different, even though it kind of seems like it's free will. Because she said, oh, we have free will, therefore, like, who's to say that if you didn't like God now that you're going to like him in the future? Those are two separate fucking things, you idiot. No. Like, I don't even know how to address that. because it is so, like, it seems like it's intertwined in the same thing, but it's not. It's literally not. If, then you don't just, you making the decision because, oh, who's to say they are going to change their mind? They do have free will, but I think they're not going to use that free will. They're actually going to keep doing the same shit, and so I'm going to go ahead and set their punishment now. Who gives a fuck if they end up changing their mind, because who's going to say they're going to do that? They're probably not, right? They're probably not. So punish them. Like, what the hell are we even saying? How do you even... I don't understand how she says that seriously. I really don't.
Yes, free will exists. Free will was created by God according to Christian understanding. Everyone who was going to be on these paths of eternal torture were created with the knowledge and understanding by a supposedly perfectly moral creator being, and that logic doesn't track to then therefore create them, know that they would supposedly use their free will for eternal damnation.
And guess what? He can let us have free will, and then once we choose to not obey him, not fucking torture you forever for it. If he was truly loving, he'd be like, all right, fine. But you don't get to, have all these great things that we have. Like, you won't. But I mean, I'm not going to torture you. But you made your decision. Okay, go. When the hell in real life would, if somebody doesn't choose what you say, you're like, all right, I'll give you a choice, A or B. Oh, you picked B? All right, come here. Let me fucking rip your skin off and burn you forever. By the way, forever. Literally, you're not gonna die. I'm just gonna keep ripping your skin off, putting it back on, peeling it, like the worst pain you've ever had forever. Oh, but you have the choice. I'm so loving. I'm so loving for letting you choose and giving you the free will to do that. And guess what? Most of the time it's a lack of belief. It's not even they're choosing. That's what it is in my case, for sure. Is I'm not like, oh, God or no God. There is God, but I might not want to follow God. No, it's just you don't fucking believe in him at all. So actually I'm not making a choice at all.
And again, we are finite beings. There are atrocities that are committed on this world that are felt for generations. I mean, generations upon generations of time due to one person in some cases, or a multitude of people and their actions and their choices. That is certainly not to be downplayed. There is no conceptualization of an eternity, of a never-ending amount of time that is justifiable for even generations, because it's long for us to think of generations of harm, but that is nothing. It's literally nothing in the face of an eternity. So why would a creator being who is supposedly perfectly moral create these people knowing and creating them anyway?
This was the part that I saw. I did know this part. No, just prepare for these stupid bullshit. Let me go ahead and put it at normal speed.
Not eternity. So why would a creator being who is supposedly perfectly moral create these people knowing and creating them anyway? Not just
Before she speaks, let me put it in a different way so that you can know how retarded the other bitch is that's about to speak up. What she's saying is, why would God, he knows everything, full knowledge of when he creates these people and gives them these abilities or whatever the fuck, there are going to be many of them. Like, he knows there will be, not maybe, there are going to be people that are misled. Literally, they think they're doing the right thing. They think they're being good people. They're honestly and faithfully following the logic and following the facts, and still they don't believe he is real. And then also he's going to end up having to torture those people for the rest of eternity. Why would he do that? Why would he not set it up in a different way? Why? He could have all those. If he wants a creation for whatever fucking reason, he can make all of that shit without having to torture anybody for any reason. But let's hear what
they
she
were going to be
says.
damned forever. I guess we'll stick with the prompt that they'll be damned forever. I don't think that's moral.
For the same reason that anyone procreates, when you have a baby,
So the same reason God did that is the exact same reason why human beings have kids. Okay, let's hear her stupid ass reasoning for that.
know that there's a possibility that this child could
Possibility. Keep in mind that word.
grow up to be a Hitler, or they could grow up to be
They could grow up to be a Hitler. You're already getting the analogy wrong. We're not talking about, oh God, why would God create people knowing that they could be evil? No, that's not even what she said, dumbass. You're already just off in La La Land. Let me pull you back in. What she's asking is, why would God create these people knowing that they're going to endure gratuitous amounts of suffering. Many of them are going to, on earth and also for eternity.
Martin Luther King, but because
You know they will. And there is, and you have the ability to do otherwise. You are God. You literally have billions, trillions, and infinite amount of other options at your disposal. And you still choose that. But no, she's going to compare it to, which by the way, I would already be under the impression that it is selfish to have a child. And I'm going to have children too. And I'm not saying that like my parents are selfish or anybody else's parents. Like, I mean, obviously I am saying that, like they are, but I don't like see anybody in a bad way. Everybody does things all the time that are selfish. You do things every single fucking day that are selfish. If you ever spend money on like food or some bullshit that you don't need instead of donating it, I mean that's selfish. And we like I would hold God to another standard than what I hold us to. Okay, but that's you're already doing making this bad comparison with the Hitler thing, but then also with having a child, because I would say that that's selfish too. Like you are bringing a child into a world that they otherwise might not have to suffer in. You don't know, but even still, even after both of those things, it's not a good analogy. Again, on another fucking layer, let's travel down the layer of cake. It's still not a good analogy because there is just the possibility that kid would do that sort of thing, whereas God knows it. And as a parent, you have no other option. You're not fucking God where you can literally create whatever the hell you want. Like if I was God and yet I still had a child in these exact same circumstances and changed nothing and didn't make it so that like, oh well, there's no way that my kid would. Any parent in the world that actually cares about their child, if they could ensure that their child would not have to go through torture, would do it. All of them. So you're just a stupid idiot. You're literally so fucking dumb, it's insane. You're a monkey. You're a fucking ape. Look at yourself.
or they could grow up to be a Martin Luther King. But because of the outpouring of love that you have in your heart,
Again, I don't know. She's in La La Land. We're not talking about if they could be bad people, dumbass.
for you,
Like, just so many layers. I just explained how she was wrong on 3 different layers.
you and possibly your spouse, you decide to
This is maybe the worst analogy that you could have fucking given.
procreate, make a child, essentially like God did, making us in his own image. So God does see the future. God is also loving. And because of the outpouring of love that he had, he made a decision
It's just buzzwords. It's just buzzword heaven for these fucking idiots. Outpouring of love, blah, 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 blah.
to have creation, to have
Creation.
them made. And as a result of that, one thing that I guess I won't say it's dismissive, but one thing that you kind of just skirt to the side is the fact that we being created in his image necessarily means that just as he has volition, we have volition. So if God is loving and he wants to have pure love reciprocated back, it's necessarily free will is necessary to that equation. We can't just be created without any real.
Yeah, fine. First off, I don't believe we have free will anyway. So, and I'm 1,000. I mean, I'm not 1,000%, but if we don't have free will, I wonder what their shitty argument would be then, because I truly think that we don't.
It's necessarily, free will is necessary to that equation. We can't just be created without any real meaningful choice.
Yeah, but that was what I was about to say. We can still have free will and not have all these other things that we're talking about, the gratuitous amount of suffering and hell. Okay? You can, again, like I said earlier, you can let people choose to not follow God. First off, you would have to give them sufficient evidence that God exists, which there isn't. But that's step fucking number 1, which these guys don't even address for some reason. It's not like these idiot Christians, they keep saying it and keep trying to frame it as though everybody has all the info and you just get this choice or this choice and it's all up to you. Motherfucker, most atheists don't believe he exists. I don't understand why that doesn't compute in their brain. Do you not understand? I literally do not think one exists. How am I going to choose that? What do you mean? Oh, you're choosing to believe that to not follow Santa. Why are you choosing to believe to not? I don't believe Santa Claus exists. Like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm not. I choose to not follow him.
Otherwise, you claim that you want to be a robot, but I don't believe that. You're too passionate. You're very passionate.
Like, maybe he does, and maybe I do like all the things that Santa Claus stands for. But I don't fucking believe he exists in the first fucking place.
Any real meaningful choice. Otherwise, you claim that you want to be a robot, but I don't believe that. You're too passionate. You're very passionate. You're very articulate. You think things through. I don't believe, obviously that's a hypothetical, but I don't believe that you would be comfortable with not having a free will for the sake of not having sin or consequences or suffering like in the past.
Bro, they don't get it, bro.
I don't believe that you would be comfortable with not having a free will for the sake of not having sin or consequences or suffering like in the past.
We can have, oh my God, bro. We can have free will without, and I don't know why you even said sin. I don't know what the hell that is. Stop. Okay, you did buzzword heaven again. Okay? I mean, obviously I know what sin is, but it doesn't have any place in this fucking sentence. Suffering. You can have free will without this immense suffering. And when I'm playing games, there's an indicator that tells you where you've been shot. Oh, I'm shot in my left arm. Even in cases like that aren't even what we're talking about. That's like that's the kiddie pool compared to what the suffering that we're actually talking about. Okay, that's absolutely nothing. But like for an example like that, which these morons are probably going to think of when they're like, oh look, if it didn't hurt, then you couldn't go repair it. Then you couldn't go get the boo-boo fixed if it didn't hurt. You're telling me there's nothing else God could have done to just be like, oh, maybe there's some other sensation there. Like, if you don't repair it, that your arm's going to be cooked. So you go fucking get it done. You go and repair the bullshit. And if not, there are still consequences. And even then, even in that circumstance, I'd still be like, this is kind of sus that this is even happening. But it doesn't matter, even if we can prove that suffering can be reduced by this fucking much. Zoom in 10 million times, and then by that much, then it would still be bullshit. It would automatically prove you wrong. Automatically, if it could be reduced by even a little bit. If it's any more than what is necessary for all these bullshit fucking reasons, then he's not all loving. Or he's not all powerful.
So that's to answer that.
Couldn't do it any other way.
Specific point.
I was saying that I would give up my free will for the sake of any and all of other people's suffering. It wasn't really like my personal circumstances.
I don't know why this lady is even saying that. I mean, that's a good point. She's a great point. She has a great point, because I would. I mean, especially since I don't believe free will exists in the first place. But again, you can have free will without all the other bullshit that we're talking about. You can, believe it or not. And let me explain. So they're like, I'm sure Christians will think, well, if you can't be tortured on Earth, then that means you're removing somebody else's free will to be able to choose to torture. God, first off, is all powerful. We already don't have. Let me separate these two for you. The inability to choose to do a certain thing is different than the inability to choose things at all. To have been able to rewind, if we rewound the clock, you were able to select a different decision. Those are two separate things. And I'll give you an example. Flying. Can we fly? No, we fucking can't. Does that mean we don't have free will? No. So that is, on this side, there are certain things we cannot choose to do, regardless. You can't just get up and, Superman. You can't do that. Okay? But that doesn't mean that you don't have the ability to choose things at all. So similarly, we could just put torturing people in that same fucking camp. You won't be able to. I don't know how he would do it. He's God. I don't have to come up with a fucking reason. If he's all powerful, he would have it himself. But yeah, that's exactly how it would work.
But again, going back to the free will, I don't think that an all-powerful God is limited at all, right, conceptually. So the parents, that's what it was. So you were saying it's just like a parent having a child and not knowing if they were going to be Hitler or Martin Luther King Jr. Many differences there, but probably the key one for this argument is that God would know. God would know, and therefore would end up intentionally, I guess, creating Hitler. So I don't agree with like that analogy. I understand your point, and we can have a separate conversation about justice.
One of the layers, by the way, just one. That's why she said there's many different things wrong with it.
In general, but my question was, is there free will in heaven?
Free will in heaven?
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about hell.
Right. This is related.
Yes, there's free will in heaven. But
there is free will in heaven.
Yes, there's free will everywhere.
See,
to turn away from
what I was talking about earlier. They'll come back to this and they'll be like, well, it's because on earth you made your decision, and once you get to heaven, there is free will, but everybody just chooses to always do good. Okay, well again, why can't we have that on Earth? What makes it? Because you were Christian on Earth. Okay, so if Christian humans who truly know God exists, oh I know God exists, then literally what makes it different that now you're in heaven? There should be nothing to make it different. You can say that yeah, those people are fully committed, but they were fully committed before. You guys don't understand that?
The
Yes,
Creator?
to turn away
Okay, so this concept of eternity and eternal bliss is not accurate according to Christian understanding?
Well-
you could leave heaven?
Well, yeah, you can get kicked out of heaven.
You
just
can
like
get kicked out of heaven.
So
Okay, I didn't know that. I don't think that's the general understanding of the Christian heaven and hell, so we might be having a different
not.
conversation.
I disagree with that. I would say that in heaven, when you reach that place, your will is surrendered and your will is
See?
united with the will of God. So there's not.
Okay, why? What makes it? There is something outside of the user's control, because if it was not, then that would be the case on Earth. But what is it after death and into heaven that now all of a sudden, oh, well, now you're fully committed. Now even the ones who were fully committed are now fully committed, like actually fully committed, and they won't sin, and therefore they won't suffer.
A need or a desire to have a will in that sense. It's extrapolating what we have here onto the heavenly realm.
So we're talking about the surrender of free will.
Heavenly
Okay, so
realm. She is so fucking insufferable. I hate that stupid bitch. I hate her.
that's kind of my point here. And also I would like to point out that apparently God can create a perfect utopia where people have sort of a surrender of free will, which is still a choice, which is technically free will. So again, the logic of heaven and hell really does break down with that.
I do want to say, there are more than 45,000 different interpretations of Christianity that exist today. So that means there are multiple opinions on what hell actually
pause
looks.
this and go back and just re-listen to what the hell she just said.
And there are more than 45,000 different interpretations of Christianity that exist today.
Makes no fucking
So
sense.
that means there are multiple opinions on what hell actually looks like. The Bible does describe that hell exists. Some people believe that means that non-believers are burning up in hell for all of eternity. I don't believe that personally. And in the Bible, it actually doesn't really describe that. It describes that the judgment, there is judgment. There's no denying that judgment does happen. People are judged for what they do on earth, according to Christian faith.
Actually
However,
get something important.
in Revelation.
Basically, she's just saying that some Christians don't actually believe that that you are tortured for eternity in hell. And to that I'd say that actually makes sense. I'd still say it's a little unfair. It's definitely not like evil or it makes God seem evil, because like whenever the dumb bitch was talking about when you go into heaven, now all of a sudden you're fully committed and it's sealed. You've sealed the deal. Like, what is it? Is it, oh, I see how glorious heaven is, and now I definitely wouldn't go across. Well, why the fuck can't God, like we were just saying earlier, why can't he show other people that, look, this is how glorious heaven is, and then let them go, okay, do I want to do that, or do I want to keep going down my path of selfishness or whatever, or sinfulness or whatever the hell? Why can't he do that? That's literally unfair. So then I just say it's unfair, but at least, yeah, you would get rid of the problem about it being damn near evil, about why the fuck are you torturing people for that shit?
I think you
Look
bring
at her
up something.
ass. Watch this insufferable. Look at this.
Something not of God. I do think that is immoral and not reflective of God's nature.
I think you bring up something really interesting, which is the fact that according to the general, apparently not yours, understanding of the Christian hell, going back to the prompt a little bit, is this concept of free will. But I guess really the crux of this is, can we choose our beliefs? Because I don't know if free will is about making choices and making sinful or non-sinful choices. That's one thing. But the hinging of the traditional understanding of the Christian hell is if you confess with your mouth and you believe in your heart that God rose Jesus from the dead, Romans 10:9 or 9:10, I don't know, I don't remember, but you will be saved. Thank you. So with that contingency there, with that understanding, can we choose our beliefs? To me, that is really the crux of in that case, not necessarily in your understanding of hell. In that case, it is immoral to set up someone who can't choose their beliefs, because how does that work? And then therefore is sent to an eternity of torture. Because I guess what I would ask is do I choose personally to have pride in my heart?
I want to go back to your prompt. Hell wasn't intended for people. It was intended for God's angels and for those that were going against him, because they did have free will.
Okay, great. So is the concept of free will who go against him, the angels, as you said, do they have free will? And if so, I guess what I'm asking is, do angels have free will?
Yeah, angels have free will just like we have free will, because we're all his creation. And if you're against God, if you're not for God, you're against God. And there is a place for you. So God created everything
it makes sense
and
with
everybody.
The angels, because at least the angels know God exists for sure. And they've seen heaven. They see what all he's about. They have all the information at their disposal to make an informed decision about it. So for them, I would say they actually, given that free will even exists, they actually have a choice. I would say even if free will does exist for humans, we don't have a real choice. There's no like, of course I don't think we have a choice anyway because I don't think free will exists. But again, even if it did exist, there's not like a real, actual choice there. It's not. There isn't.
To follow him and to serve him if you're not.
Because again, especially in I don't believe he exists. How in the world am I going to choose to follow bro if I don't know he exists? If I knew he existed for sure, I would 1,000,000,000% be every single day be preaching the gospel. But I don't, so I don't. It's not a choice. It's just a lack of belief.
Part of that plan,
Lack
then there
of
is a place for you.
sufficient
It wasn't intended for
evidence.
people, but if you want to follow that route, you can follow that route and you'll have the same ending.
So I love where this conversation is. I do want to get back on topic, but on the matter of heaven and legalities and the law, right? I want to just explain a little bit about what I believe, what everything will
Look at this defeated ass face. They're just all normal. Look at me with things. Look, she's normal. And then just defeated.
look like in heaven. When we die as followers of Christ Jesus, those who obey his commandments, those who walk in his ways, there is a covenant that is made. Now, a covenant is an alliance. A covenant is a treaty. It is a legal term, okay? When we decide that we are going to obey the commandments of God, we have made a covenant. So when we walk in that covenant, observe that covenant, and obey that covenant, we have broken the covenant that sin made that with Adam and Eve. We have broken that covenant that Adam and Eve made with sin, with Satan. So when we go to heaven, we no longer have
She's so
the
beautiful,
sinful
bro.
covenant that we had binded at the very
I'm
beginning.
not gonna
So with that in
look,
mind,
it's actually
I do want to
it's
talk about
pretty.
the law because it is
Random
very,
woman
very
has
important to
no
think
fun
about that.
with it.
When we go to heaven, right, the law will be reestablished. We will obey Sabbath. We will follow the 10 Commandments. This is just biblical prophecy. And it's also talked about throughout Genesis when Abraham is being promised his descendants through his seed. Now that is a completely different topic. But when we
Should
think
I
about the law
pause
and we think
this?
about
Am I
morality,
wasting
I
our
did
time
want
right
to
now?
talk about your jewelry because here's the thing.
Oh my God.
Do you know what the sigil necklace?
I believe it's for the goddess of Hecate.
So here's what I see. I study the occult. I do study religion. These are
This is
the
good.
founding principles of our world's morality. So the 3 moons on your necklace, they symbolize the divine feminine, a triple deity.
I thought you were
Yeah.
going to talk about the upside down cross.
And on top of that, the pentagram represents Baphomet or the bull. So you have an androgynous
Oh,
sigil there.
okay.
Now let's talk about the formation of the law because I do want to help you understand what it looks like on a term
Bro, I'm
of
pausing this. I'm
morality.
not
I
wasting
want to
my
help you
time. Prepare for the most insufferable 10 or 15 seconds, whatever it is, of YouTube you will ever listen to.
You feel like
make you want to do that.
I just would say that if you call into question the legitimacy of hell because you feel like it's illogical, then it undermines justice in general. If you don't agree or like the concept of hell, that's
If you don't agree with the concept of hell, it undermines justice in general. What the fuck? No way she actually believes this shit, bro. She does. She really does. She's hoping that other people will agree and be like, oh, that sounds like it makes sense. It undermines justice in general? Holy, that's deep and profound. That's extremely deep, actually. Please, tell me more.
the one thing. But if we were talking about cause and effect and how logic follows certain formats,
Cause and effect and how logic follows certain formats.
then we have
Jesus Christ.
to consider that there are consequences to our actions, and that's essentially what hell
There
is.
are oh my God. So she's saying, since you don't agree that hell is fair, then that means you don't agree that there should be consequences to our actions. Jesus Christ. I'm not even going to explain why that's just bullshit. Total bullshit.
But to interrupt, I'm sorry, but like the consequences of our actions, how the Bible describes it, the wages of sin is death. It's death. It doesn't say eternal conscious torment forever and ever. It is death. It is an end.
Well, see, they disagree. She don't agree with that, bro. She don't agree that it's just nothingness. She believes in hell and everlasting torture.
But the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ. So I think that's something.
The worst pain you can possibly experience for as long as you can possibly be here. Well, maybe the word possibly is wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Like what she's talking about is the fact that a lot of Christians believe that there are going to be billions of humans just tormented in hell forever and ever, while we are just in bliss in heaven. That's supposed to be something good, and that a good moral God, like creator God would agree
That's
to.
insane.
And
That's the key, because I think
Christians
the
don't
argument is
agree with
that the concept of justice, I'm certainly not denying.
Especially,
I'm not
that's
an
already bad on its own, but especially given all the things we just stated about how it's like not fair at all.
expert in justice, but I understand that there are consequences for actions. But if we take that to the step of the Christian understanding, a creator
See,
being
I mean, that's what she got it from too. There are consequences to actions, okay? Just because I disagree with hell doesn't mean I disagree with consequences in general, and therefore that I disagree or I don't understand justice, or undermines justice.
Supposedly
Like, what?
perfectly moral, created these people to make these terrible decisions.
God, she's so stupid. And she dresses like, you could tell she's a lawyer, bro. And she thinks she's so fucking smart. Oh my God, and she's so fucking stupid. Holy shit.
To then end up in hell for eternity, whereas we've already established that there can be a perfectly lawful, according to this logic, a perfectly lawful where we have free will kind of heaven without eternal torturing, to her point.
Well, the formation of the law came
Yeah.
from obviously.
And don't give me the bullshit about, oh, they already set in stone. Yeah, so you get to form your opinion when you don't have all the evidence. And then it has to be set in stone, locked in from then on out. Even if you regret in hell. Oh, too bad. Too bad. I'd really like for her to explain what makes it different. Why is it locked? You're just saying, oh, you're locked in heaven. Why? What happened? Can you explain, please? What happened? And why can't that happen here? Why can't God just do that? Just let everybody have that information. Because I guarantee you, after they go to hell, they're not going to want to choose it then, are they? No, they're not. And you fucking know that. People, they know that.
A perfectly lawful where we have free will kind of heaven without eternal.
Of the law came from obviously the story of Moses in Exodus. Okay, and why I found your necklace so very intriguing is because the entire
Please shut up about
foundation
the necklace.
of God leading Moses to literally become the leader of the Torah
She looks like she would just fucking focus on
was based on genocide to an androgynous God. So when you've mentioned a lot the abuse of children, and I love that you have this moral sense in yourself that you would never want to see children suffering.
Yeah.
But what happened in Exodus?
Christ.
Pharaoh literally saw the Hebrews thriving. They were literally doing according to what God said, to be fruitful, multiply, living in harmony, following in his ways. The new Pharaoh saw that, and he wanted to genocide them. So he did it in his religious way because he actually participated in water worship. And not just water worship, but he participated in the worship of the god Hapi, which was an androgynous deity that represented not only the triple deities that we see in the Egyptian pantheon, but also represented this basically blood sacrificial transaction between children and between also virgins, etc. So Pharaoh sacrificed those children because he was religiously inclined to do so. So would you say that Pharaoh deserves punishment, deserves justice for what he did to Hebrew?
Notice how she's keeping it vague as shit. This is just a common Republican, common idiot Christian tactic. Do you just think that he deserves punishment? And if you say yes, then that means you must agree with me, right? No, bitch, it doesn't. Yeah, he deserves punishment. Same thing as this other bitch. Yeah, I think consequences exist, or like we should provide consequences for heinous actions. Do I think that means people who simply don't believe in God no matter what they do? If it's just, oh, they lying, you're inherently born into sin and you just don't believe in God, that means you also get the exact same punishment as this Pharaoh, which is, and even for the Pharaoh, I mean, maybe something crazy like a death penalty would be what we should do. But torture already, no. And then torture forever? No. Definitely not.
Baby boys who did nothing.
Yes, I do 100% think that justice should be served. If you're going to talk about this story in Exodus, though, I would like to point out that the spirit of God, he, him pronouns, came down and killed the firstborn children of all of the Egyptians as punishment. So maybe the punishment has been served there if that God committed infanticide.
But I guess just in general, what you and I agreed on, what I will say, I do believe that there is judgment, that God will judge all of us for our actions. However, I 100% agree with you in the fact that it does not make sense that human beings would be tortured forever and ever. In the Bible, if you actually look at the text, it doesn't actually fully support that. You have to really use do some deep exegetical study to understand like all the context of everything said.
I probably agree with her. I think even if you are a Christian, I think from my understanding of it, the right answer would be that no, actually, I don't think that there is a hell, like in the way they understand it. It's just kind of nothingness, which would make more sense. Which does address the hell part. It still doesn't address suffering because there's still crazy like animal suffering on Earth. It has nothing to do with that. But yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with her. I think I really like this girl right here. She's doing a great job so far. I mean, she's only kind of made that one point, but still.
Because we're talking about the prompt, and the prompt is you think hell is immoral, and I just want to say that everyone is right. I agree with all the women, but it is not. And you said
what? No, you can't agree with. They disagree.
an eternal fire. That's because God is living out of time. It is eternity. So he's creating it for what he's creating it for. He did not intend it for us. He gave us free will.
What? What the hell?
Living out of time. It is eternity. So he's creating it for what he's creating it for. He did not intend.
So he's creating it for what he's creating it for. He did not intend it for us.
For us. He gave us
Dude,
free will. He intended it for his
stupid,
angels
bro.
and for those who went against him. So yeah, we
Okay,
have free will
okay,
too.
she's
So we
like,
get
what the
the same
hell?
punishment as them if we go against God. Therefore, we are separated from God. You know, he is omnipresent. He is in hell. There isn't a scripture.
God, bro. Mega pastors and performative pastors and sermons and shit have absolutely ruined our society. That's the reason she's talking like this. She's mimicking the bullshit that she sees other people do. Like, just spamming buzzwords, spamming bullshit. Shut the fuck up. Can you actually say something that makes sense for once?
He intended against God. Therefore, we are separated from God. You know, he is omnipresent.
We're separated
He is
from
in
God.
hell.
He is
There's
omnipresent for God. He is in hell. Like, none of this shit matters. Stay on topic. Like, actually make a point and support it with evidence instead of just preaching.
It isn't a scripture. God is in hell. He's present in heaven and hell. We're separated from him. So once we die, we go to hell and we're separated from him. It wasn't for us. So to answer your prompts, yes, it is immoral. But when we're immoral, we go into immoral things, and that's hell.
So, no, idiot. That you can't say it is immoral to punish people. So, is it immoral to sentence people who murder people to life? No, that's not. You can't say it is immoral, but when we're immoral and do immoral things, then, or when we are immoral, we go into immoral. You're putting it in such an idiotic, this is like a toddler trying to explain it. When we're immoral, we go into immoral things, immoral thingies, and that's hell. No, then you can't call it immoral. If you're saying God doing that and serving the punishment is immoral, then you don't go, oh, but I'm going to justify it because no, that's just that means it wouldn't be immoral. If he is doing it because you fucked up and you're getting punished for it, that's an okay thing. That's not an immoral thing. Fucking idiot.
Okay, hell exists. Hell exists, but humans do not burn in hell.
This is their tactic. It's the same thing with Republicans, Trump. This is just a moron tactic where they just say everything. Just say it all. It is immoral, but it's also justified. So how the hell is it? I don't know, but it is messed up. But it's okay that it's messed up because they're also messed up. But it's messed up. I don't know. Fuck me. I just want to. Did that sound good? Did I do good, guys?
For all of eternity.
Well done. Well done.
Okay.
Christian.
That's the end of that segment. But I'm having so much fun, bro. I'm gonna stop this video and start another video and watch the next segment. So yeah, I'll be back.